Hapo kwa message huko.
Nomi. Estaba dando para adelante.
Okay. So our first guest this evening is someone very familiar to us all. Baroness Udin is a British non-affiliated life peer and a community activist, and she sits in the House of Lords, and she's a great friend of us all here at the Parliament, at the Children's Parliament, and she's been with us quite a few times. Baroness Udin, I can see you there sitting on the top bench. How are you today? If you could unmute yourself, Baroness Udin, we'd love to hear your introduction to the event.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for everyone who's present here today. It's an honor and a privilege to be with you. And I want to congratulate each and every one of you and all the schools and the teachers who have taken time to be with us. I hope you can hear me. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Sorry, I can hear you at least. I can hear you loud and clear.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. So I want to say that Miss Anna Firth, who is the chair of the All-Party Parliamentary Group on Parliament, is currently busy in the House of Commons voting on digital regulations, and I'm sure she will be able to join us at some point very shortly. But what I want to say is that congratulations to everyone, particularly Miss Anna Firth and Richard and Honourable Speaker here for getting this wonderful and inspirational gathering together. Participations are from all over the country, our country, which is UK, but also from different parts of the world. And we really welcome your engagement with us. This has been a very busy period for us. As Mr. Speaker, Honourable Speaker has said, my name is Manzila Uddin. I'm a member of the House of Lords, which is the upper house in the UK Parliament. And I'm currently chairing something called the All-Party Parliamentary Group on Metaverse and Web3. And I'm very interested in what the children have to say about new and emerging technology. You are much more easy going with technology than someone of my age, but I have been trying alongside honourable speakers and others who are engaged in this parliament to try and ensure we engage all of you from different ages, different backgrounds, different countries. Your role in changing the global important global opinions on important issues like climate actions, like the way that we are treating each other as communities, as neighbors. We are really proud that you are taking part, and all of you, I know that already begin by doing amazing things in your own communities, in your schools, which will have very significant impact, I believe, and the future is in your hands. And I believe that this future is more impactful. You will make more important decisions than we've been able to, but make sure that you reach out to each other, help one another, not just in your own neighborhood, but your communities, and other schools. I mean, we've been very fortunate in being able to speak to schools in Africa, and we know how lucky we are in many parts of our world where children have access to good facilities, good schools, good communities, but that is not the experience of others. So it's very important at this particular time when there are so many conflicts in the world that you as children and those of us who are entrusted with you, working with you, are able to reach out to each other and create a safe and secure world which respect and honor each other across the globe. And I just want to say thank you. We're all here and we are all waiting to hear your opinion and what it is that you suggest that we should undertake to make sure that we're by your side at whichever projects or agenda that is important to you. Finally, I want to say the Children's Parliament is currently electing its new Prime Minister, and we've been so impressed with the applicants. And so there are so much talent amongst you. Please spread the good word and spread your work. And you are amazing. Absolutely. Respect. Thank you.
Baroness Udin, thank you so much. Really powerful and lovely words. Thank you. It's very much appreciated, as your support always is for our events. I hear now that our local MP here, we're at St. Pierre School in Leigh-on-Sea, and we were the school which started this up a couple of years ago. And our local MP is Anna Firth. And Anna, are you on the call at the moment?
Hello, yes, I am.
Oh, hi. Welcome. Good to see you. And again, you're another one. And you're usually sat beside me, aren't you, in these events? But you're elsewhere, I believe.
I'm actually in Parliament. I'm actually in a committee room just outside the voting lobbies. We are voting at the moment. And I've literally nipped into a little side room in which to be able to join you. And just to say how incredibly important what you're about to do and debate is today, because, you know, democracy absolutely depends on our young people being well informed, being interested and debating the issues of the day. And I've looked at the agenda that you are considering, and I see that you have got all the important issues on it, including and in particular climate change, which of course couldn't be more timely as we approach COP28. So I'm very sorry that I'm not able to join you in a more at more length, but I'm very much with you in spirit. It's my enormous pleasure to be the MP for the Sir David Amess Children's Parliament. I'm absolutely delighted to see it going global. Please put yourselves forward to be the Children's Parliament Prime Minister, which is a very important role. And I look forward to welcoming you here to Parliament and being able to show you everything that I'm doing.
Anna, we really appreciate you making the effort to be with us today. I know you're so busy and very important things to attend to. So thank you very much for being with us on this call. So can I remind everybody that you can contribute to the debates, but not all of you will get to contribute because there's a lot of people and not a lot of time. But can I remind you that contributing in the text is good because we monitor those texts during the event to see if anyone's got anything interesting we can pick up on. And also after the event, that's all written up and looked at and all your opinions are shared. So please contribute in the text as we're going through the meeting. I have, before we move on to our main presentation, I have another person to introduce you to. I've got a guest speaker here with me. Some of you who were on last time will remember Bruno, who was a guest speaker. Well, I have St. Pierre's head boy, Clark Dearson, here with me. Clark, you'd like to say hi, give us a wave?
Hello, everybody. It's an honour to be here, and I'm really excited to hear all of your views and opinions in this Children's Parliament meeting.
Thank you, Clark. So our the other really exciting thing, and there's so many exciting things about today, is that we're linked to something called the Darwin 200 project. And we have a couple of people from that project who are going to explain it, I'm sure, much better than I could. And Stuart, are you on the call? Do you want to start us off and tell us what this is all about?
Yes, absolutely. Can you see and hear me okay? Is that
I
coming
can't
through?
see you, but I can hear you quite clearly.
Oh, okay, perfect. I've got my camera on. Let's see if anyone can bring that in. Can anyone see me come through?
Oh, there you are, Stuart. Yes, you're looking to be in a
Beautiful.
much sunnier place than we are.
I'm calling you from Punta del Este in Uruguay. This is the 6th port of the Darwin 200 voyage. Basically, what we're doing is taking this beautiful historic ship. I'll get out the way so you can see it. We're taking this beautiful ship around the world, following in the journey of Charles Darwin. I hope all of you students know who Darwin is. He changed the world with his mind and his ideas on many, many different subjects. This is our ship. It's a 50-meter-long tall ship, and I'll walk backwards a little bit so you can see it a little bit. What we're doing is training the very best young conservationists, 200 of them from around the world. We're bringing them into different ports and giving them projects. And we've got 8 right here happening right now here in Uruguay. They're studying all sorts of subjects from, there's a unique toad called Darwin's toad, all the way up to sea turtles and sharks and this amazing ecosystem called the Pampa. So those are the Darwin leaders. What we're trying to do is give them the skills they need to change the world of tomorrow. They have to be 18 and above, so they're a little bit older than you guys. But in a few years, hopefully some of you guys can join and be Darwin leaders as well. Here's the logo of the ship down there. So we've actually got a Darwin leader with us here tonight. The incredible Karen Bruakaris joined us in Rio de Janeiro a couple of weeks ago. So I think we can pass over to Karen, and she's got a wonderful presentation to tell you about her work. So she'll show you what she's been up to.
Thank you, Stuart. Karen, are you there?
Yes, I am here. Do you have the video?
Yes, I'll play the video.
Awesome.
Okay, let's see if I can do this. Wait a minute. Here we go. And hopefully you can all see the video now.
Oh, I'm not sure the sound's coming through there.
Hold on a second. Is there still no sound?
We still cannot hear it, but
Hold on a second.
Plants. But why do we do all
Okay, this is
of
just start
from
again.
Venezuela? My father, the great explorer Charles Bruakaris, and my
Can you hear it
family
now?
have been
Yes.
joined by many scientists to go to the depths of the jungle and learn from the last indigenous tribes survival techniques. We've also discovered different species and seen plants and animals that few people have seen. Have you seen the movie Up? Well, we have been to these amazing places and we have seen animals and plants so strange, like the carnivorous plants. But why do we do all of this? Because we cannot protect what we don't know. And do we need nature? Do you think we need nature? Well, yes, we do. Because we are part of nature. And if nature is doing good, if nature is thriving, we will thrive too. If we protect our ecosystems, we will have many benefits like clean air, clean water, rich soil to plant our food, and many other good things. But what is an ecosystem and how it works? Well, an ecosystem is how all the living beings in an area, in an environment, have relations with each other. How do they interact? Are they friends? Do they eat each other? It's like in school, for example. School is the environment that you go to, and everyone has their job. There are the students, there's the director, there are the teachers that go. Also, we have people that do the cleaning and people in the kitchen that prepare the food. But what happens if one day one of these people cannot go? It will be a mess. Imagine if one of the teachers cannot go. We will need to find another teacher, and maybe this new teacher is not so good. She sends so much more homework. I mean, it can be a mess. And the same happens with nature too. Everyone, every single animal, plant, mushroom, bacteria, everyone has their job and they're the best at that. The flowers, for example, are pollinated by someone to create seeds. The seeds then are planted by someone else. And these plants and this forest and these animals all work together to keep an amazing balance. That is health for everyone. But the problem comes when one of these workers is removed. Then the mess comes. And we are seeing today the consequences of that imbalance. So that is why we need to protect nature and all of those components. But how can we protect nature, right? Luckily, there are a lot of specialists that really know how. The Darwin 200 project looks for young people who wants to protect nature and takes them into an amazing voyage to one of the ports that Charles Darwin visited. There, they will meet some specialists and they will learn how to protect nature and then share this knowledge. This is how I got selected to go to the jungles of Brazil to learn from a group of people that are trying to protect a really special animal. Imagine this animal. Try to imagine this animal. It is small, like a school ruler or the size of a book, and it runs from branch to branch, jumping around. It has a long tail to keep the balance, and it has a mane like a lion and golden hair. Can you imagine an animal this magic? Well, this is Rosalia. And no, not the singer. This is Leontopithecus rosalia, but we also know them as the golden lion tamarin. Look how gorgeous they are with that golden hair. It is really amazing. They love jumping from tree to tree looking for food. They eat small animals like insects and also fruits. Do you remember in nature who planted the seeds? Well, this is one of these guys. These guys, well, they don't actually make a hole in the ground and put the seeds. They eat the fruits with the seeds. They digest all of this and then and now the seeds have all the nutrients they have to become big trees and an amazing forest. But it's not just one plant they help. They help over 60 different plants. Can you name at least 3 plants that you know? It is hard. There are so many plants. Imagine 60. I mean, these animals are really important for this ecosystem that is really important for the whole world. The problem is that these animals almost disappeared from our planet forever. They almost went extinct. Can you imagine the mess that we'll make in the forest? Well, there are many threats that these animals are facing, but before telling you some of these threats or menaces they're facing, I would like to show you more about their behavior because it's really amazing. They're just like us. They like running around, chasing each other. They really like grooming. I love when my mother, for example, used to brush my hair before going to school. It really felt nice. So these guys do that all day long, and they take, of course, some fleas and ticks out of the way. They have cute babies, usually twins, and everyone in the group helps caring for the babies and other tasks. They are so cute that, unfortunately, this is one of the problems they face. Some people think that they could be good pets, but they're wild animals, and they will never be happy alone in a cage and away from their families. And also, we need them in the forest, planting all those trees. So remember, never buy animals. It hurts the animal, it hurts the species, it hurts the ecosystem, and it will hurt us too. The other problem that they're facing is that they don't have like a market or one place they can go and find everything they need. No, they need to explore big areas of forest to find some fruits there, some water over here, some insects over there. So they need a really big space. But we have cut down those forests to build highways, to build pipelines, to build pastures for cattle. And these open spaces between the islands of remaining forest are not easy to cross. I tried to do it myself, pretending to be a golden lion tamarin and pretending that the drone was like an eagle that was chasing me, and I failed. I fell to the ground. Okay, let's look at it again because it's very funny. It's very funny because I was not in real danger, but for these animals, it is impossible to cross in a safe way. They have lost so much forest. I mean, we all have lost so much forest. Look at what remains. There are so many other problems that these animals face, like invasive species of other monkeys that do not belong there and steal the resources and food, or diseases, or I mean, there are so many problems. But remember that this is a story of success, because we learned how this group of people were able to, despite all of these problems, being able to save these monkeys from the extinction. This is the Asociación Mico León Dorado, the Golden Lion Tamarin Association. In order to protect these animals, there are many steps that this association is doing, like monitoring, for example. Monitoring is basically keeping an eye on them and really understanding how they behave, because the only way to protect an animal is really knowing them. And these people spend a lot of time in the jungle with them. They also show other people how important these animals are and how important the ecosystems are for everyone. They were able to find landowners, the owners of these open spaces, that understood how important these animals are, and they gave some of this land so we can connect these islands of forest. The little plants that will be planted are provided by farmers that also benefit from this friendship, and this will become a corridor. It is a patch of forest that is new that will connect two old forests, so animals can cross and share resources. They also came together to build a bridge just for nature that goes over the highway. I mean, can you imagine how hard it could be to cross that highway? I was near that and it was really scary. Actually, today, that bridge is covered with trees and many animals use it today. They also promote tourism for people to come and see the monkeys in the forest, but in a safe and respectful way. This is called ecotourism, and it brings benefits to all the communities that lives around these areas. As you can see, one of the most beautiful things about this project is that so many different people come together to protect these animals, to protect the ecosystem, to protect the forest, and to protect the communities, and bringing benefits for everyone, so everyone is happy. We can all help, and we should all help. I am not in the jungle right now, as you can see, but I am using the tools that I have to help protect these animals and help protect this ecosystem. I like to speak very much, as you can see, but I know that everyone has different and amazing tools that can be very useful. I know that some of you can be very good at painting, at drawing, making sculptures, making music. I mean, there's so many things. You just have to find what really makes you happy and what you're good at, and use that and cultivate that and practice that and use it to make a difference in the world that surrounds you.
She wasn't even there.
To protect our ecosystems and the well-being of everyone. My name is Karen Brewer Carillas. I am an explorer from Venezuela, and what an explorer does is they ask questions and they investigate and they go to places and ask different people and learn new things that can help everyone and then share these discoveries. That is what an explorer does. Now, who wants to be an explorer? Thank you, thank you.
Okay, let me just get back into the can everybody hear me again? Karen, thank you so much.
Yes.
Can you give me a wave if
you.
you can hear me? Thank you so much for that. Yes, good.
Lions, leopards, cheetahs, and tigers are the most feared predators on the planet. The most prominent of them is the cheetah.
Sorry about that. There we go. All right. So wasn't that wonderful? So inspirational. And there's lots of chat going on from all the MPs here, Karen. But I've got a quick question for you because we are a bit short of time. But there's Joanna would like to ask you what inspired you to take this job.
That is a good question, because when I was very little, a bat inside the house, and it was very frightening because, I mean, it was Dracula inside the house flying around and everyone was screaming. But my dad was able to capture it because my dad knows a lot about animals, and he showed us this animal before releasing it. And we could see how soft was the hair, how beautiful were the wings. I mean, this is the only mammal that flies. And he explained to us that some bats eat insects, some others are pollinators, and some others eat fruit and disperse the seeds. And I understood then that people are afraid of animals because they don't know nothing about them. So I dedicated since then to speak about nature, and here I am.
Wonderful. It's so enthusiastic. And I also got Clark, who's sitting with me here, who'd like to ask you a quick question, and then we must move on. Clark.
How else do you intend to help these golden lion tamarins, and how many do you intend to help?
How many? As many as possible. And how do I intend to help them? In many ways. I went on site to know more about all the work they're doing because I talk in social media about animals, about ecosystems. This is what I do. And if you share it with people, more people will use their own tools to help however they want. If some people can donate money, they will. If some people can go on site and plant some trees, they will. If some people have influence and can help build other bridges, they will. So it doesn't matter how little you think your influence is. It's always huge, and you always have to share this information. And well, now you can see how far it got.
Thank you. I don't know, you seem to have stalled on this, but thank you so much. That was really a wonderful presentation. What an exciting project. And I'm sure so many of you watching this call will be very excited by the Darwin project. We certainly are here, and maybe you can get your school to get involved because this Darwin 200 project is something which is very unique and has some extremely exciting aspects to it. So please try and get involved, and we will send you all the links and informations. But Stuart and Karen, thank you so much for spending time with us. We are going to move on now to our first debate, and this debate is going to discuss your opinions on global warming. So we'll have about 20 minutes chatting about that. And I'm going to start off by calling on some of our new international MPs. So the honourable member, and I can't believe I'm saying this, for Senator Obama School in Kenya, Kofi. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Kofi, do you have something to say about global warming? Kofi from Kenya. I think I've got somebody else. I don't know if anyone from that school is on, the school in Kenya, Senator Obama School, but I've also got the honourable member Samuel Is Samuel on the call? We're just trying to hear you here, Samuel. I think we can see you. I think you're muted. Can you unmute?
Hello, can you hear me?
We can. We're so excited to have you with us all the way from Kenya. How wonderful. Have you got something? You're muted again, I think. Have you got something to tell us about global warming?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes, thank you so much for this opportunity. And I'm Samuel from Kenya, and although Senator Obama is
You're muted again, Samuel.
I think I was muted. I'm sorry about that. So he was saying that I'm trying to give technical support to Senator Obama. They are not able to hear, but they have joined. Some of the students have joined online. It is it's 34 minutes past 8 p.m. in Kenya. It's a little bit late, but they are following.
I think you're muted again.
Hello?
Yes, go on. Go ahead, Samuel.
Yes, thank you. So just to say something a little bit about global warming, I believe it's
We're not hearing you very well, I'm afraid. Okay, we're going to try and call on you a little bit later and see if we can get a better connection, because you're going in and out. But I'm sure you've got some really interesting. What a wonderful part of the world to be in, and we'd love to hear from you. Can we try? We've got Tor Eklund's school in Ghana. And the honourable member for that school is Mustafa. Is Mustafa there? All the way from Ghana, Mustafa, are you there? Is anyone from that school on? I've got the honourable member Erica also on. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Who am I speaking to? You're muted again, I think. We can't hear you. You're muted at the moment.
Hello.
Hello, can you hear me?
I'm sorry, this is Samuel. I think I can be able to hear you now.
All right, Samuel, do you want to just finish while we're trying to sort out the schools in Ghana? Samuel, do you want to just finish?
Yes. So I just wanted to share my contribution about the global warming and the question that you asked. So generally, my take is specifically on global temperatures, and what we are getting at the moment is that the temperatures are on the rise, and it keeps on rising, but it's mainly because of our activities, that is human activities. For example, primarily burning of fossil fuels, deforestation, and this is leading to a lot of emission of greenhouse gases. And this rise in temperature is causing a lot of impacts and intense heat waves that are causing, for example, rise of the sea levels, that is causing disruption to the ecosystem and so much. And we can be able to address this, or we can start crucial things just to make an immediate action. For example, if we can be able to transition to renewable energy, if we can be able to try to plant more trees and conserve the existing forest, and we can also try sustainable agriculture, and most of the time also we have seen public awareness and education working well. Also, if we have connection with anyone who we consider is in a position of creating policies or influencing policies and regulations, I believe we can be able to, it starts with thank you.
Samuel, thank you so much. That's really nice to hear from you there in Kenya with all your views. Can I just let's just have somebody in this country to balance out the opinion here. I've got the honourable member for Cheltenham Ladies College, Grace. Is she on this call? Grace from Cheltenham Ladies College. Yeah, we can see you there, Grace. Are you able to talk? Can you unmute yourself and talk? I think you have a point about climate change.
Mr. Speaker.
Grace, can you hear us? Okay. So anyone from the school in Ghana then who can talk to us? Anyone from the school in Ghana? Okay, we're not having much luck, are we? What about Oscar? Oscar from Leon C, the honourable member from Leon C. Oscar, you there, Oscar? Yeah. Oscar, are you able to unmute yourself and say something?
Mr. Speaker.
Oscar, there you are. I can see you. What would you like to say about climate change, Oscar? You're muted, Oscar. You need to unmute yourself. You still need to unmute yourself. I can see your microphone's muted here. You're muted. No, Oscar, because we still can't hear you. All right, we're not having much luck here. How are we? Anyone else from the school in Ghana who's able to contribute at this stage? What about the member Isaac from Hayward Zion C of E School? Isaac, are you on the call?
Mr. Speaker.
Is that Isaac?
Yes.
Isaac, welcome. What would you like to say?
Yes. I would like to say that it's got a concerning impact on the environment and eventually human health, and measures to reduce impacts need implementing now.
Thank you. Thank you, Oscar. Good to hear. Good to hear from you. Where in the country are you, Oscar? Oh, sorry, Isaac. Sorry, Isaac. Where are you in the country, Isaac?
Oldham.
How are you? Good. Welcome. Lovely to hear from you. From Oldham. Excellent. What's the weather like up there?
Very cold.
Very cold. It is here too. Thank you. Right. So let me see. We've got. Who else have we got? We've got Moses from St. Francis, the Honourable Member Moses from St. Francis.
So do you mind if I say a few words?
Please go ahead, Moses. We can hear you loud and clear, which is nice.
Mr. Speaker, big journeys begins with small steps. To halt this climate change crisis and rally more individuals to join this mission, we must commence with small sustainable steps. That's the message I wish to convey to you and to Parliament. Many of us attend schools located in our neighbourhoods. Therefore, I urge students to consider walking to school, while adults could opt to walk or cycle to work, if feasible, instead of relying on cars. Embracing public transport should be encouraged. In my community of Ascot, most commuters travelling to London make their journey on trains, and I believe this practice can extend to commuting within nearby towns like Reading. The government should prioritise improving connectivity in public transport. Mr. Speaker, in Indonesia, where the average person consumes approximately 121 kilograms of rice annually, New York City implemented a one-day no rice policy weekly in 2012, aimed at preserving the nation's food resilience. Similarly, in the UK, where the average person consumes 82 kilograms of meat annually, acknowledging that animal agriculture significantly contributes to greenhouse gas emissions, implementing a one-day no meat policy seems plausible. This step is particularly relevant given that only 12% of children aged 11 to 18 meet the recommended intake of 5 portions of fruit and vegetable daily. While these actions might not immediately resolve climate challenges or sustainably reduce CO2 emissions, it provides a measurable initiative that instills pride and a sense of ownership. Together, these steps could serve as a launch pad for exploring additional sustainable measures we can collectively undertake as a human race. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and very well prepared and well spoken, Moses. Thank you very much. Some views there I think we'd all agree with. Now, just to see if we got our international people back on, I do have a representative from Bangladesh, I think, and I don't know the name, but just so we've heard from some of these wonderful countries. Is there anybody there from Bangladesh? No? Okay, and then can we try again Ghana? Would anyone from Ghana like to talk to us? We'd love to hear from you if you can.
Mr. Speaker.
Yes, go ahead.
Mr. Speaker.
Go ahead.
Energy source needs shift from the existing Asian reserve to circulation driven by perpetual motion like wind and sun, ceaseless bounty. Materials in use might form dark cycles. From those recycles where each product end becomes the start of new, as leaves return to an enriching soil each also. Settlement pattern to demand reform, more distirring and movement by foot or silent will in place of long motorized treks. Promote conservation of the natural resources. This can be done by avoiding deforestation or overfishing, which destroy natural resources. Educate the public to create public and support. Thank you.
Well, thank you, and really well read and really clear. It was lovely to hear from you all that way away from the UK. Thank you so much for contributing. We're going to take a break from the debate for a few moments, then we'll be back talking, but we have another couple of special guests. So I'm going to introduce you first. Well, I'm actually not going to introduce to you because Clark, my assistant speaker here, is going to introduce Mary Fellows. So Clark, go ahead.
Mary
Mary Fellows is a former editor at a total of 11 international editions of Vogue. She has lived and worked in every continent on the globe. She has styled fashion shows, advertising campaigns on the television films, commercials, and thousands of pages of magazines and their covers over 25 years. She has dressed dozens of A-list Oscar and BAFTA-winning actors. On drilling down and learning just how polluting and toxic fashion was for both planet and people, she decided she needed to be part of the solution, not the problem. She has since gone on to study sustainability at Cambridge University and launched a business that helps the fashion industry become cleaner, greener, happier, and shinier. She has lectured at Harvard University, worked with policymakers, has partnerships with many universities to accelerate their students, and is about to head to the United Nations Climate Summit, COP28, to deliver a series of activations for youth and young audiences around the world in the official green zone over there. And she is taking our UK Children's Prime Minister, Harry, with her to open the green zone at that summit.
Thank you. Mary, welcome. I can see you on the screen there.
Thank you very much. Beautifully said and read. Thank you so much. Can you all hear me okay? Yes? No?
Yes,
okay.
I
Brilliant.
can, yes.
Well, firstly, thank you, Peter, and thank you, Baroness Udin, thank you, Anna, and thank you to Karen for that lovely talk. And a special thanks to all the honourable members here for being here. I'm extremely honoured to be here and to be sitting in front of people who are all change makers for the next generation. You give people like me hope. You know, when there are moments in my job where I feel like I despair because I see how bad fashion is for the planet and I see what you guys are all going to do about it, and it just gives one so much energy and fuel to keep going. I think looking at some of the chat today and hearing the topics that have been discussed, you know, we're talking about oceans and oil and fossil fuels and energy and cars. And these are all big grown-up topics. And I don't know if any of you do, but please say so in the chat if you ever feel a bit like, well, what can I do? I'm still in school, or do I have any power here? And is it just an awful world? But you do have power. And I really want to tell you that you really do. And you might not think that your power is in what you wear, but I promise you it is. And the reason why is that fashion actually sits alongside some of those big polluters, you know, oil and gas, you know, aviation, transportation, all of this. It's one of the big polluters. 10% of carbon emissions can be attributed approximately to fashion. 30% of those microplastics that they find in the ocean that have now made it into people's bodies and into snow, they come from textiles and apparel. And fashion, instead of bringing its footprint down, is on track to double its emissions by 2030. And out of every 5 garments that are sold today, 3 of them go to landfill. That means they go to waste within a year. We're producing about, on average, 10 billion garments a year. And of course, we can't use them all and wear them all. And it's absolutely terrible. And the only way we can get out of this is for all of you lot to really take action and to think every time you get dressed, which is sometimes every day, sometimes more than once a day. You might change into your school uniform and into your sports kit and into your casual clothes. You get dressed every day. It's just like eating. We eat every day, hopefully. Not everybody has that privilege, but a lot of us do. And fashion is a lot more like food than you'd realise. It's also grown from the ground by farmers. It uses crops. It uses an awful lot of water. And it can be good, but it can also be like junk food. Now, I don't know if you guys have ever seen an American candy store or gone to the cinema or gone to McDonald's, but I sometimes cannot resist that big jar of beautiful coloured sweets or a really good box of chicken nuggets. I mean, it's irresistible at times, but fashion, especially the kind of Primark and the ASOS and all the stuff from Shein and Boohoo and all of that stuff that's really, really cheap, it is basically junk food. It's so bad that recently there was an airline who were making their uniforms and they were made of these horrible toxic materials, so much that their people who worked on the airlines got rashes and had breathing problems, and that was just from their clothes. And so I think, if you think about it, if you ate junk food every day and you ate all that stuff that you see at the cinema or McDonald's every day, you'd feel pretty rubbish and you wouldn't do well in your lessons and everything else. Well, fashion's the same. If you put that on your body and it makes you sick, it's not good. And it makes the planet sick and it makes the people sick. And so what we have to think about is every time you get dressed or every time you spend some pocket money or you get a birthday present and you want a pair of Nikes or you want new clothing, think about it, because it's a vote for what kind of world you want going forward. You know, would you want to vote for a world where we think about the golden lion tamarins we saw thanks to Karen earlier? Would you want to see creatures like that and the carnivores she showed us and those beautiful trees and the oceans that the Darwin boat's going to see? Do you want to see them healthy and thriving, or do you want to see them rotten and dark and full of waste? If we carry on consuming fast, cheap fashion at the rate we're doing, it's going to ruin the land and ruin the people's lives who live on that land all over the world. I will be taking this topic to the stages at COP. I'm so thrilled that Harry at Chiampong will be with me and opening up our green zone and the UN's official zone. But I want you all to remember that just even when you feel powerless, every single action and every single pound or dollar or euro or whatever currency you're using, you spend on fashion for a worse world. And just like Moses said brilliantly, we have to take small sustainable steps, and that comes with every time you buy a piece of clothing or wear a piece of clothing. Think about it just like you do when you put it in your mouth or you put it in your body, you're putting it on your body, and it's just like either good food or terrible toxic junk food. And I really hope you can all think about that, because fashion is one of the big villains, and we all really can only take collective action in our communities, influencing everybody like a ripple effect, like in the sea, just like the ripples in the ocean and the waves that Darwin boat's going to see. They are ripples, and everybody's influence can go somewhere. So please tune into the Extreme Hangout. We'll be live streaming from COP. And if you remember and you want to have a look at the extremehangout.org, and you can tune in to see some of the stuff that we're going to be doing, which is all around changing the world for the youth and for a better future. And thank you all for having me. I'm really honoured to be here. Thank you.
Mary, thank you so much. I mean, that I can see the responses in the chat, and I've never seen a talk actually produce so much enthusiasm. I think there's a lot of agreement with what you say. And I know that you've been on both sides of the industry, haven't you?
Exactly.
And so you're a cop turned villain, or villain turned cop, yes, whichever way you want to look at it. So
I'm still being reformed.
Yes, exactly. But what a wonderful perspective, and thank you for your enthusiasm in what's a very important topic. Okay. So thank you. And in the middle of in the middle of Mary's talk, she mentioned Harry, who is our outgoing interim Prime Minister and is going to the COP 28 summit. And Harry, I think you've got a few words for us, right? Harry, you on the call?
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to let me address the House on my forthcoming engagement at COP28 in Dubai. As the House knows, COP28 is all about climate change, a subject which the UK Children's Parliament has discussed before. I will generally talk about the climate emergency and highlight the fact that we are merely trustees of the planet, and that we have greater responsibilities to look after it. I will tell the conference that the world must act as though our very existence depends on the actions they take at the conference. I will specifically address the issue of the crimes committed by the fashion industry. The fashion industry is one of the biggest polluters of our environment. The pollution of the aviation and shipping industry combined is far, far lesser than the crimes of the fashion industry. I'll highlight some statistics to reinforce the crimes committed by the fashion industry. Thank you very much.
Harry, thank you, and good luck with your talk. And if you haven't grasped that, Harry, who was the Prime Minister for our Parliament, is going out to Dubai to address the world's leaders in those terms, and I think he's going to represent us extremely well. And good luck, Harry. I'm sure you'll do a great job. And thank you for finding the time to join us tonight. Much appreciated.
Thank you, Harry. Thank you for all the work that you've done, and thank you also to Mary.
Thank you. And Harry, I'll see you there next week. Can't wait.
See you.
So there's a great ambition for everybody who's running for Prime Minister for next year, and see all the wonderful things that Harry's done, and I'm sure that you can do similar things. And now we have Jessica Faulkner from Mary's Meals. Jessica, are you with us?
Yes, I am. Hello.
Hi, can I hand over to you?
Absolutely. Hi, everyone. I'm really happy to be here, but I'm actually going to start by sharing a video which will tell you a little bit more about Mary's Meals. So wish me luck. I hope this works.
Hi, my name is Stephanie McCarvey Nabil. I attend the Divan Daycare Primary and Junior High Academy. I live in Liberia. I want to become a medical doctor when I finish school. I love Mary's Meal because they help to keep me in school by providing the food for us.
Hello, my name is Klaus Aluda. I'm head of programs for Mary's Meals Kenya, coming to you from Turkana, northern part of Kenya. Now, this region is considered an arid and semi-arid setting near desert situation. The land is always very dry, and throughout the year, we always experience just 2 to 3 days of rain. Imagine that. From January all the way to December, you only experience rain 2 to 3 days. And this has been a perennial problem for the longest time possible. And while I'm coming to you now, we have just been in the worst drought situation, where scientists have been able to project that this is probably the worst drought in the 40 years that have passed. And what does that mean? It means that the situation here becomes more dire for the children. We have the highest levels of poverty, where 85% of the population, the communities, are considered poor. We have the highest level of malnutrition. It is common for people here in Turkana to go for days without a meal. You can imagine the children that we serve every school day depend on that meal provided by Mary's Meals as the only meal that they have until the next day. We're experiencing the El Nino phenomenon, where we are anticipating a lot of rain to be experienced in the Horn of Africa. Well, that should be good news. Here in Turkana, we are so worried. While it rains in the other regions, all the water drains towards the lowlands in Turkana. And so we are anticipating and preparing for a double tragedy, whereby on top of drought, while it will not be able to rain here as much as it has been projected, we are going to experience flash floods. And that makes the provision of meals in school even more and more important.
In Zambia, we feed learners in schools or in their places of education to try to make them, to encourage them to come to school. The impact of climate change on the communities that we actually work with the schools that we feed, is that most of them, they rely on rain-fed rain, and because they depend so much on agricultural products. But because of the weather patterns that have changed tremendously, it has made them to stop growing enough food that they've been used to.
Hello everyone, my name is Late Saidi. I'm 23 years old. I received Mary's Meals porridge when I was 11 years old, and I've had Mary's Meals for 10 years. Porridge has helped me to succeed in my studies, and I am now in a final year for my secondary school. I'm sending best wishes from Malawi to the World Children Parliament 2023. Thank you.
Hopefully you all saw that and that made some sense. That was just a little introduction that I wanted to share with you about what Mary's Meals is doing, and to bring some voices from around our Mary's Meals family, so that you can see how the impacts of climate change are affecting the communities where we work. I'd just like to share a short presentation with you, if that's okay, and I'll just talk you through a little bit about what Mary's Meals does, and how that's affecting, how climate change is affecting the work that we do. Can you see? Should just be coming up just now. You see that first slide that says Mary's Meals?
Oh yes, just come up now.
Brilliant. Okay. As discussed already, my name is Jessica, or Jess. I'm coming to you from Glasgow in the UK, and I work for Mary's Meals. I'm really excited to just tell you a little bit more about Mary's Meals work and the way that climate change is impacting what we do. But first, I just wanted to say thank you for having me, for featuring Mary's Meals as a charity, and by including us in your debate. I have been so impressed by the knowledge, the skills and the energy that you're all bringing to this vitally important topic on climate change, and it is a real pleasure to be here, so thank you. A little bit about Mary's Meals then. And what we do. We are primarily a school feeding charity, meaning that we provide daily meals in places of education around the world. It's our belief that education is really the key to escaping a life of poverty, but the reality is that in many places in the world, children are missing out on their education, either because they're simply too hungry to concentrate, or because they're actually missing school because they're having to look for food or work in order to afford a daily meal. For this reason, we provide meals in schools and other places of education. So children come to the classroom because they want to eat, but then they are no longer hungry, so they can concentrate in class. And that then means that they can take advantage of their education. That education can be their ladder out of poverty. Our story started in Malawi. Our founder, a man named Magnus McFarlane Barrow, was in Malawi in 2002 during a famine there. He visited a family where the mother was very sadly dying of AIDS, and Magnus asked her son, Edward, what his dreams were for the future. Edward had a very simple answer. I would like to go to school and I would like to have enough to eat. This very simple dream is what started Mary's Meals. Back then we began with a small feeding programme for 200 children in one school, and today we're feeding more than 2.4 million children every single school day. So where are we doing this? We're serving food to children in 18 of the world's poorest countries, and you can see them here on the map. Many of them are affected by extreme poverty. Some are also affected by conflict. And many of these countries are increasingly affected by climate change. I wanted to tell you a little bit more about how climate change is affecting the communities where we work. And I was really lucky recently to travel to India and Zambia to see Mary's Meals work in action. And in both places, I heard the same thing again and again, that increasingly unstable climate and weather patterns are adding extra difficulties in communities that are already stretched to the limits. So this photo is from Jharkhand, which is in India, in eastern India. It's a very rural and poor place. Most people here are subsistence farmers, meaning that they're only growing enough food to feed their families. Occasionally there might be a bag of rice or some lentils, maybe some peas, which they can sell. But in general, they're just growing enough rather to meet their own needs. In this picture, you can see a young girl called Sushila on the left. She lives with her grandmother, who's in the centre of the picture, and her uncle, who's on the right. Her father died from a snake bite a few years ago, and her mother has to work in a bricklaying factory, which is far away from the school that Sushila attends, and that's why she's living with her relatives. Her relatives are farmers. In Jharkhand, the rainy season usually begins around June and lasts until October. It doesn't rain all the time, but farmers can expect some rain almost every day. This is planting season, when they sow new seeds. Rainy season is when the land is fertile, so it's really crucial that farmers can plant a good crop during this time, which they can then harvest and store up for the dry season. It's impossible to grow food in the dry season, so it's really, really important that families have something put aside to get them through those months. However, in the past few years, the rainy season simply hasn't delivered. Farmers in Jharkhand are reporting 40 to 50% less rainfall than usual, which means many crops will fail. This has huge implications for the dry season, as families have not been able to put enough food aside to get them through to the next rainy season. And this picture is from Zambia, just taken just a couple of weeks ago. When I was visiting. It's also a very rural area. The vast majority of people here, as in Jharkhand, are subsistence farmers. And they have a similar situation in terms of the rainy season, although it's a different time of year. It usually starts in December. This is planting time for farmers. They harvest just after the rainy season ends, which is usually in March, and then that harvest has to last all the way through until the following December. However, in Zambia, over the last couple of years, the rains have been unpredictable.
Where is the slide?
Last year, they started early in November. Many farmers planted their seeds, but then the rain stopped, meaning that the crops that they'd already planted were lost. And this year, the rains came early again. It was actually raining while I was there, it's too early, really. And farmers simply don't know what to do. If they miss the rains, their crops will not grow in time. But if they plant too soon and the rains stop again, like they did last year, their crops will fail. In situations like this, you can imagine how important the Mary's Meals programme is. Many families are facing a dry season without enough food to give to their children, and this is through no fault of their own. For parents, knowing that their children will get a healthy and nutritious meal at school, regardless of the season, is an enormous relief, and for many, it is a literal lifeline. As for the children, they no longer have to worry about how they will eat. They know food is secure at school, and that means that they can focus on their studies, which is exactly what children and young people should be doing. It's our hope that this then enables those children to finish their education, to get better jobs, or even to farm more productively if that's what they want to do. We're already seeing this with children like Letty, who you saw in the video, who ate Mary's Meals as children and are now forging a new path into their adult lives. And we call this Generation Hope. That would be my message to you, really, that sometimes when you feel powerless, there is hope, there are things that we can all do, and there is change in cycles of poverty and that sort of thing in time. So I hope that's given you a little bit of insight into what we do and how different communities are affected by climate change. If you'd like to find out more about Mary's Meals, you can visit our website. I don't know if there's any time for questions, but I'm happy to take them if there is. But as for now, I'm looking forward to hearing the rest of your debate. Thank you.
Jess, thank you very much. That was lovely. And what a way to bring home the effects of climate change to the children who are on this debate now. I think it really does make such a difference. And thank you for all the work you're doing. And I can see lots of hands clapping you on the screen. And again, this is something which you can get your school involved in. We'll send you the links, and you can get in contact with Jess and see if your school can help. What a wonderful charity. So Jess, thank you very much for joining us today. It's much appreciated. So we'll continue our debate, and perhaps if you do have a question for Jess, you can make it in the debate. But we will push on with our next debate now. And I'm going to hand over to Clark for a little bit, who's going to start our second debate. And we can, although the second debate was about wildlife, I don't think we really finished the first one. So if you want to make any point at all on the topics we've been covering, please feel free to do so. So we have a couple of people we'd like to ask first. So Clark.
Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker, for this honour. And first of all, I would like to call upon the honourable member from Latimer Upper School, Julie. Julie, are you there? I think you have something to say about fast fashion.
I'm here, thank you. Okay. Dear Mr. Speaker, I would like to address an issue that we face right now, clothing waste. We all love being able to wear clothes of the latest fashion trend, but then after a while, we want new pieces of clothing. What do we do with all the clothes in our wardrobes? Most people would think that donating clothes to a charity shop is a very sustainable option that solves clothing waste. It doesn't really. 90% of clothes just don't sell, so shops sell them to major companies. Those companies that continue selling our used clothes to poorer countries to basically dump them there. Ghana receives most of our used clothes. This country receives 15 million clothes each week. 40% of that goes to landfill. In other words, Ghana is our graveyard for the UK's discarded clothes. We are now using 60% more clothes than we did 15 years ago, and every second a rubbish truck filled with clothes is either being burnt or dumped. But many people are not aware of where our clothes end up. The first step is to raise awareness, but this doesn't solve the whole problem. The second step, we need to work on recycling or avoiding polluting materials. Mr. Speaker, we cannot ignore this issue any longer. How can we still be fashionable without destroying the planet?
Thank you so much, Julie, and I was very, very happy to hear your points. And next of all, this is very exciting. As many of you know, this is the first international Children's Parliament meeting. I would like to call upon the honourable member from Labyrinth School in the Czech Republic, Simon. Simon, please could you tell us about our first Child World Hunger?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the honor to be here. And I also prepared a few stuff about fast fashion. There are a lot of environmental problems, but there are a lot of child labor problems. 170 million children are in child labor, mostly making textiles, which also include fast fashion. And that's a very big problem. And even normal workers that work in fast fashion are underpaid, and they get 3.5 pounds per hour, which is very bad. Now, they're not good for the environment. There are a lot of toxic dyes, cheap toxic dyes in the clothes we wear, and they're made of not quality materials like polyester and nylon and other which are similar to plastic and can take thousands of years to biodegrade, which is a very big problem. So we don't have that much. So like the oceans are polluted and everything. And I will just repeat the number that it is responsible for 10% of the climate crisis. All the transport of the clothes, all the waste of the clothes. And I would like to say that it's important to focus on the problematic. My personal experience is that in our school, we focused on the problematic. We had a project week and we focused on the sustainability and the conception of these fast and slow fashion. We learned about the principle, reuse or abuse, which is very important. Then we had workshops, then we learned how to use old clothes, and I recommend these project weeks to realize the problem and reflect it in the everyday life. And I would just go to the marriage meals. We gave last year we donated 10 children foods for 1 whole year. So thank you, Mr. Speaker, for them.
Thank you so much, Simon, and your views are much appreciated. I think all schools should be doing everything they can, just as yours are. So next, I would like to call upon the honourable member from St. Paul's Cathedral Primary, Zaina. Are you here, Zaina? I think you're muted.
There are so many things to consider when it comes to fast fashion. There's the waste that occurs during production, there's harm to wildlife because of animal-based textiles, there's pollution of water and soil, and there's also the exploitation of human labor. It has been claimed that the fashion industry on its own is responsible for 20% of global wastewater, 10% of carbon emissions, as well as polluting the ocean with microplastics. So surely this trend is a big threat to the environment. The main problem is the rapid production of these fashion clothes that are equally cheap, so don't last and end up in landfills. There needs to be stricter checks on the fashion industry globally. These fashion outlets should be held accountable and be given a set of rules and guidelines to meet. I am happy that this parliament involves child MPs from other countries because these issues must be tackled from a global perspective to make any meaningful change.
Thank you so much, Zaina. That was amazing, and I know there were lots of strong views on fast fashion. Swiftly moving on. Next, I'd like to call upon the honourable member from the Greg School, Hassan. Hassan, are you there? Please, can you make yourself known? Hello, Mr. Speaker. Please continue. Yeah.
We can hear you, Hassan. Just continue.
As a child myself, I feel it's unfair on children to be starving out of hunger. I'm very grateful for my life, but when I see children around the world who are less fortunate and have nothing to eat, it really makes me humble and appreciate all that I have. At the same time, I really feel sad seeing them in this situation. When I see children around the world who are less fortunate, it really makes me humble and appreciate all that I have. At the same time, I really feel sad seeing them in this situation. No child should have to starve. And I think as children, we should really begin to think about more people wasting and not taking things for granted. I would love to create a food bank and start some charity in this form, even if it's locally to donate some food, but small but merry, as charity starts from home. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak. Hassan Khan.
Thank you so much, Hassan, and I really hope you can continue with all the things you wish to do. So next, I'd like to call upon the honourable member from Rockaby, Jacob. Jacob, please can you tell us your views? Are you here, Jacob? Please can you tell us about your views on ocean microplastics? I may come back to you later. So moving on, I would like to call upon Xander, the honourable member Xander from Raynham.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And I have many views upon microplastic, each individual, each having many views. But I'd like to put a spotlight on how microplastic can harm marine life. Animals eat these, and as they mistake them for food. We also may eat these animals, as an example, fish fingers. This is polluting humans and animals together, which has significantly decreased the amount of food that we have had. They also have been found in drinking water and other foods, such as salt, honey, and marine organisms. On the ocean surface, there is about 15 to 50 trillion microplastics polluting the surface. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you for having me.
Thank you so much, Xander. Your views are well appreciated. Next, I would like to call upon the honourable member from Leon C, Theo. Theo, are you there?
Hello. Hello.
Theo, please continue.
Yeah. Hello. What should I say?
So we think that world hunger, we think it's really sad that we hear that we get to have our own food, our own home and everything, but people out in different countries that don't get the opportunity to have food is really sad. And I think that we should all take a part to help.
Yeah. It's unfair because if some people get, like us, we get stuff, but some other countries don't get treated as well as us, as fairly as us.
Thank you so much, Theo, and it's nice to hear views from somebody local. And next, I would like to call upon the Honourable Member from Britannia Village Primary, Ramis. Ramis, please can we hear your views?
Hear my views on world hunger and
yes, please.
Okay, I have many views on world hunger, and I think that it's a horrible thing that's happening around the world. I believe, as another person said, that we should create a food bank so everyone gets equal food and no one has to starve.
Thank you so much. And have you got any views on fast fashion? We'd love to hear those as well.
I have views on fast fashion as well. I believe that fast fashion is bad in all ways because we have very cheap quality clothes and it makes our skin and it makes our
Can I please speak? I am Canton Eco Champion Award.
and it makes it's just not good enough. It's not good for our body.
I won and I won again.
Excuse me, Ramis. Whoever was speaking over Ramis, please can you mute yourself? Ramis, please continue.
The fast fashion causes harm to our body, which in the end makes us feel, which in the end makes fast fashion horrible for every person on this planet.
Thank you so much, Ramis. It's lovely to hear from you. Okay, next, I'd like to hear from the Honourable Member from St Andrews, COFE, Tiana. Tiana, we'd love to hear your views on fast fashion as well.
I think that fast fashion is terrible because a lot of brands that a lot of people buy from, like H&M, Primark and Zara, are damaging the planet because they use a lot of poisonous, toxic dyes to create them, and they're not helping the animal. Sorry, and it's polluting our waters, which is not being helped, which is damaging our planet.
Thank you so much, Tiana. I think your views are very valid, and I agree with you that fast fashion is very devastating to our planet. Next, I'd like to call from some more international members, and I would like to call the Honourable Member from Park High City, Barry Nunn from the USA. Barry? Okay, seeing as Barry's not here, I would love to move on to the Honourable Member from Magari da Porto, Leonor from Portugal. Leonor, please can you speak your views about the current topics? Leonor, are you there? Okay. Leonor, if you are on, please could you make yourself known? But for now, I'm going to call upon the Honourable Member from Senator Obama from Walton High, Agila Tariq. Agila?
Hello, yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Please give us your views about child world hunger.
I feel like I feel like whenever anyone talks about any of these issues, about anything that's affecting humanity or our climate, I think the fact is that everyone is just stating the problem. We need solutions, okay? And we are entering a generation where we are progressively going into a technology state of era, right? And I feel like if we connect with big communities such as Apple, who have, if you have seen recently, launched the Apple Pro goggles, if we can use that knowledge and use their education as a sort of balance and help to make sure that the planet is in healthy state, then we can definitely use their resources to make the planet better.
Thank you so much, Regina. Next, I would like to call upon the Honourable Member from Britannia Village in China, Kiran Siu. Kiran? I'm sorry, but if you are here, we can't hear you. Next, I would like to call upon the Honourable Member from Raynham Primary, Xander Basson. I'd love to hear your views about wildlife. Xander?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, again. I have also many views on wildlife. I'd also like to shine upon, though, that global warming has a massive impact on many species in the world. For example, polar bears' habitats are beginning to melt. Sea turtle nests are being washed away due to the rise of sea levels. Snow leopards' habitats are getting smaller. Panda bears has left to eat due to the loss of plants, and due to the rise of sand temperatures, green sea turtle eggs are now only becoming one gender. All of these has an impact on the species and are growing them less and less, putting more and more species on the endangered list and future, if we don't help, extinct. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Xander. Again, your views are very valid. Next, I'd like to call upon the Honourable Member from Soulfield School, Alim. Alim, please can we hear your views? Alim, thank you.
Hello. My views on world hunger are very, I think, need to happen. So I realise in the summer holidays how lucky I am to, have the food I have. Whether some people might not have all of it. Some people might only have a piece of bread to eat every day. So I think some governments should donate to food banks and make more of them, so we can fix world poverty and hunger together.
Thank you so much, Alim. That was very, very interesting. Next, I would love to call upon the Honourable Member from Birchwood Grove, Esme. Esme, I've seen you quite a lot on the chat. I'd love to hear your views.
Hello, Mr. Speaker. I would like to talk about fast fashion. I think in fast fashion there needs to be better human rights, as there is no air conditioning, windows, and it is very dark. It also uses up precious water that could be used in villages that are not able to have any clean water. All the clothes that we send back or are extras or that are slightly ruined get burnt, which they could have been sent to homeless shelters, and it also creates carbon emission. Recently, a study was shown and in a factory in Bangladesh, where the building was unstable, and the main buyers from that factory were Shein, New Look, and Peacocks, all fast fashion brands. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you so much, Esme. Next, I would like to call upon on the Honourable Member from David Livingstone Academy, Ibrahim. Ibrahim, we'd love to hear your views.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My name is Ibrahim, and I am 10 years old. I go to David Livingstone Academy. I would like to talk about sustainability. The amount of challenges facing our planet can seem daunting, but we all can do something to help. The biggest thing that we all can do is educate ourselves. When you further your own education, you can help others understand the importance and value of our natural resources. Schools should make it compulsory to teach children sustainability. They should teach children to grow your own food in a garden. They should organize more trips to the park and also install a school garden. Practicing sustainability empowers children to construct knowledge, explore values, and develop an appreciation of the environment and its relationship to the world. Putting a stop to an unfriendly environment can make our Earth a better place. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker. I would like to call on the Honourable Member from Milford-on-Sea Primary, Mia. Mia, I've seen you a lot on the chat, and I'd love to hear your views. Mia? I think you're muted. I can't hear you very well.
Mia, can you unmute? So, unfortunately, we can't hear you, Mia, because you're on mute.
Next, I'd like to call upon the Honourable Member from Johanson School, William.
Mr. Speaker, my views on hunger are that it is not right that people in our country are being treated unfairly, and that every piece of crops that are grown should be shared around the world. I know this would be burning fuels by travelling, but maybe we could have another way to travel that is more friendly. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. There are my views.
Thank you, William. Thank you, William. I'd like again to call on the Honourable Member from Milford-on-Sea Primary, Mia. You are still muted, Mia.
Well,
I'm very sorry, Mia.
okay, sorry, Mia. I don't think we're going to get to hear from you, but what a shame, because I know she has some nice things to say. We're going to have to stop, and it's been such an interesting debate, and I'm sorry that you all didn't get to contribute. But can I first thank Clark? I think he did a great job as the speaker. So well done, Clark, in your first attempt. Give him a round of applause, please. I think he did a very good job. Before we leave today, I would like to ask you to go into the chat and give me your vote on the following. Just give me your opinion so that we can look at the chats after we leave and see what the youth of today, the young people of today, think about this. Now, you heard earlier about the COP28 conference, didn't you? That's happening in Dubai, and we've had a few of these over the last few years. And I want you to tell me whether you think that conference will have any effect, whether you think it might have some effect but will be too slow, or whether you think it's going to have no impact at all because the world needs to do more. So can you give me a one-sentence thought, please, in the text before you all leave on what you think will be achieved at the COP28 conference in Dubai? And thank you so much for every one of you who've come on this and spoken so eloquently, so powerfully. Thank you particularly to our overseas guests. It's a shame we couldn't quite get the internet working as well as I would have liked to hear from all these wonderful places. We had people from China, the USA, Ghana, Kenya, and other countries. So it's a shame we didn't hear from all of you. And also, can I thank all our guest speakers, our politicians and our experts and our charity representatives. It's been wonderful to hear from everybody. Hopefully you've enjoyed and got something from this. Take the information back to your school, and we'll sign off now. And thank you so much to everybody for coming.
Thank you so much. All of your views were amazing and I loved hearing them, and so did Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye. Well done.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank
you.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
It's been a wonderful meeting. Thank you.
Kiitos. Bye.
Bye.